Welcome to Paramitas, this beautiful place. What do you think? Yeah. Very nice. Also, I tell you, Amira, who is the manager, or is the owner of this place, you didn't see her, but like, just only a few people went to the toilet probably, and she's already cleaning it. So it's like, more clean you can't have. So she's putting a lot of effort into keeping this place clean, which is, in a way, a good way, because of course it's effort and because of course it's work, but then also she's happy. She's happy when the place is clean. She's doing a good job, right? So not because nobody on purpose is wanting to do a bad job, I hope. We had the microphone that was, the S was very sharp, this one has the P very sharp, but maybe I should put it away.
Not so far.
Can you still,
no,
you can still hear?
you can.
It's too far, okay.
You can put it a bit downwards, like not far,
yeah, we can
but
try until it works. It's okay, or too far?
Like that.
Yeah,
okay.
fine. The people at the back? You're okay? Otherwise, please just, yeah, now it's much better. Please just say something. Okay, so the course is on practicing the 6 perfections. It's wrong. What is wrong when I say practicing the 6 perfections? Yeah, no, actually it's okay. Practicing to be able to do the 6 perfections. Maybe I should do like this, because when people hear it, because still, you know, we kind of carry with us a lot of views of there is a God which tells us what to do, what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, and then there's all these other people who are not living it, who are telling us what to do and what we're not allowed to do. And the other day somebody told me, why should I be ethical if, you know, my government is so unethical, for example. So that's what I mean, that, you know, if we have people kind of telling us what to do, and then they don't live up to it, then we don't feel like doing it. Yeah? Or what do you think? Yeah. So, you think that's right? Because what I said, well, why you should practice ethical conduct so you're not reborn in a country where you have such a government? I mean, this is one of the reasons also. I also told him, what do you think will happen to these people in future lives? He's like, they're not going to have these posts of power and whatever. So think about this. You know, when you think, oh, they're not ethical, so therefore I don't have to be ethical. It doesn't, because you are the one who is creating your tendencies and habits and all this, and you take them away with you. So even if you come to a country where the government is ethical, you still kind of act in a, you know, not paying what you need to pay and all this, because it's a tendency. Yeah, so I mean, this is the problem. But whatever I'm saying here, I'm not saying you have to be generous and ethical and patient and enthusiastic and concentrated and wise. This is up to you to decide. And you are the one who is deciding that. And just lately, somebody told me about Viktor Frankl. You know, I'm so Buddhist and so ignorant that I don't know all these people. But I read a few quotes and I went like, wow, this is like so true. So one thing he says, if you don't have meaning in life, then you won't be happy. So find a meaning, why you live, you know, and nobody else can tell you. You have to find it. Now, of course, Buddhism gives you great meaning, meaning first thing is you develop a good heart. You become a kind person. That's available to everybody. You know, you get up in the morning and you think, today, maybe of benefit to people. So, I'm talking Buddhist now here. So then it's this whole thing, you know, at the end of every session or practice you dedicate and doing this in order to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment, but then it stays at that. Yeah, it's like then you think that only the motivation will get you there. No, the motivation is the first step. You need to want to have a good heart. You need to want to become a kind person. So if you feel like, I don't want to be a kind person, then the door is not locked. You can think like, oh, well, maybe that's not the right, it's not the right topics for me here, because it is about how to train, how to train. There's no other word for training in English. I think in German we have a few words. How to practice, how to train to do these things. So whenever the occasion comes, then you're happy that the occasion comes, for example, for you to be generous, for you to be ethical. When you feel that, there's some kind of urge or a drive in here to not pay what I need to pay, to not say the truth when I want to, when it's, to lie. When you have this, that when you feel the habit coming up, and then we call it ethical conduct when we say, no, I am going to go the other way. And this is how you change your habits. But you need to want to do that. There's certain people, I'm sure, in this world who their interest lies in how can I become rich very quickly? How can I... I don't think people, when the motivation is to become rich, I don't think they go and say, how can I learn how to cheat people so I can become rich very quickly? I'm pretty sure that everybody, if they would have ways and means to become very rich in an ethical way, and they would choose that way. What do you think? I think so. But then, because it's very difficult, I just read I'm in contact with a businessman, kind of who became very rich, and he says, 95% of the businesses fail. Because people don't realize with this, when this wish is there to become very rich, they don't realize how much effort you have to put into it. They don't realize how you have to stay at it. They don't realize how you need to have a structured way to go step by step by step. And it's the same for developing your mind. So when we say, oh, may I be of benefit to all sentient beings, it sounds very nice and it's very inspiring. But then also we don't really realize what it implies and what it means, and that it's actually hard work. But first is really the step. And slowly also I feel with me, after all these years, just this sentence, may I be of benefit to others, it's true, at the beginning it was just words. Yeah, but by repeating it, I feel that there's some emotion coming with it. And emotion means an emotion has a certain energy that pushes you a certain way. So then it pushes me towards that way, and it becomes easier actually to be a kind person. Not so much effort anymore. At the beginning, it's a lot of effort. Yeah, and not to be kind is not so much effort, but having no agenda behind the being kind. That is kind of difficult to really fish it out when you go, why are you doing this, and then to still be kind, but let go of the selfish kind of self-interest. So then it becomes pure. So these, what they call the 6 Paramitas, or the 6 perfections, they actually come at the end of the path. So they're quite high things. Yet, I still think, like, if you've never heard about these other things, I do think that it would still be okay for you to, we can turn these into very worldly meaning. It's like, you don't have to hold up your hand. It's just ask yourself, would I like to have a tendency to be generous whenever I have an occasion to be generous? Or maybe just shortly reflect now. I'm sure all of you had moments you didn't have to give, but you gave. And if you don't give mindlessly, but if you give with being happy that you have something to give. Have you ever been in a situation you wanted to give, but there's nothing to give? How is that? Terrible, isn't it? I mean, it's like, but again, try to be reasonable here. It doesn't mean that every homeless person and every beggar that you see, you have to give him something. If you want, if you can, please do. If you don't want, that's fine. So it's not that. It's more the wish to give, and not cooking up like all kinds of excuses why not to give, for example. We say, okay, I don't want to give him. Beggars is always the biggest thing. It's always the biggest discussion when we talk about generosity. I don't want to give them that because I'm sponsoring their alcoholism or drug addiction or whatever. They will not stop because you're not giving them anything. I don't think so. And it's true. If that is your real reason, but you would like to give something, you have plenty of organizations who look after these people, so you give the money to those, for example. But if you just keep it in your pocket, thinking, oh, well, I have this good motivation because I do not want to sponsor their, alcoholism or drug addiction or whatever, and you keep it with you, then, yeah. So there's no wish to give, yeah. So it has a lot to do with motivation. I mean, the motivation of wanting to be able to do these things at one point, but in order to be able to do these things at one point, first, as I said, we have to train. And the reason why we want to train that is to be able to live our potential that we have of being like unlimitedly kind, unlimitedly compassionate, unlimitedly wise, is to be able to live that potential. So that's why we use it for, in order then be of benefit to others. But before you start, if you're here for the first time, I don't know how many people hear Buddhism for the first time. And for those who have heard it already 300,000 times, it's fine. It's good to hear it again and again and again and again. The Four Noble Truths. This is the basis, this is the fundament of all these other practices that come. And the first of these Noble Truths is what? Dukkha, suffering. First of these Noble Truths is kind of the Buddha telling us, you have a wish to be happy. Do you have that wish to be happy? To be free from suffering, to be happy, to be well, to be open, to be spacious, to be peaceful, to be secure, to be joyful, enthusiastic. Do you have that wish?
Yes.
Okay. You need to feel this little bit stronger to go on this quite difficult path, my dear. Because otherwise it's like, yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah. But we have it, and we don't need to feel it. This is our motivation for living, in a way. This is why, underlying this is why we do all these actions, be they ethical or non-ethical, because we don't want to suffer and we want to be happy, but some of them unfortunately are not very skillful. Do you believe that you have the potential to be kind, ethical, loving, enthusiastic, relaxed, free? What Buddhism can offer you is freedom. Freedom from your wrong views, negative emotions. That's what Buddhism can offer you. Not to become famous, not to become rich, maybe it comes with it, I don't know. But to have a choice, to know your mind so well that you don't have to suppress anything anymore, even pretty much at the beginning of your practice, if you practice. And practice doesn't mean sitting down and looking like a holy being or something. Practice doesn't mean reciting mantras. Practice doesn't mean doing visualizations. A part of the practice. Practice means you check what's going on with your mind, knowing, not just looking and seeing all this anger and then going, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad person, and then staying there. The first thing that we learn to, at least to have a little bit of trust that we have this potential to be kind. Kind in a way, your action can be very wrathful because you need to stop somebody from doing something really, really naughty or kind of dangerous. But inside, you're only concerned about the person that you're acting with. Yeah, do you see what I mean? So if you have children, you know what I'm talking about. No? It's not, you can't with your children all the time just go, oh yeah, I love you so much, just do whatever you want to do, so that will make you happy. Yeah? You do that with your children? All the time? Huh? Wow! I will send you all the children from the rest of the world, and they will go, oh, we want to go to Israel. The parents never shout at me there. Yeah. So sometimes you shout at them, sometimes you show anger, you manifest anger. But why? Not because you want to harm them or you want them to suffer. Your very, very innate, very deep and very genuine and very true motivation is because you want to protect them. And if they don't listen to what you're saying with a calm voice, then, well, you shout, and it's true. Sometimes it has more effect. Does it? Yeah. Sometimes. I remember, when I was already grown up, I had an argument with my father, and I was, I think, 40 at that time, but you remain a child your whole life, And we had an argument, and then he tried to explain why, and this, and I was so stubborn, I didn't want to change my mind. He kind of banged on the table, and the cops were jumping. And I woke up. And I started seeing this side as well, otherwise I was just totally caught up. So now I'm not here advocating anger and shouting and all this, okay? I just don't want you to develop wrong views that being kind and being compassionate means that you let everybody do whatever they want to do. Because I'm so kind and I'm so compassionate. But it also it means that if you do interfere, in order for you not to create negative karma, you have to know your mind and you have to see what kind of motivation is behind. Because for us, me also, if I don't fish it out, I would say 99.999% is selfish motivation, So like this. But just seeing it. So then when you see it, again, don't go to the extreme of going, oh, I'm such a selfish person, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, we all are. This is our tendencies going that way, and society is actually helping us to develop that. So it's good to see it, because that's the only way you can change something, when you see it. But then it's this whole thing about, it is so important, and it is so difficult to have trust in our potential, and not to judge, and not to constantly put ourselves down, and put all this pressure on ourselves, how we should, especially Buddhists, that you should act like this, you should be always in a good mood, never depressed, blah, blah, and this and that. And then, as the good Buddhist, you forgot the first noble truth, which says, as long as you have not understood emptiness directly, as long as you have not seen reality the way it is, as long as you're still stuck in your projections, you will have moments of where you are not well. And also we have lots of residues of past actions that in this life are ripening. So even though, there's no wish to be poor or angry or whatever, but these habits are still there, and then they ripen. But every time you see it, every time you do not follow the instinct of saying something, doing something, while the anger is there, you are not, you're not strengthening that habit, you're not feeding it, yeah? But when we just see, Buddhism believes in past lives and future lives. You don't have to believe in it, it's fine with me. I do believe in it, Buddhism does. I'm happy that, I have found a way which I can work with. Other systems, other belief systems work with creator gods. It works for many people really well. If you do not believe in a creator God, don't judge those others. It's their business what they do with their belief. But we don't have to agree on that point. It's just views. Whether there is a creator God or not, I have no clue. I don't know. And me not knowing doesn't mean that he does not exist. It's just that I can't work with that view. But I see other people that for other people this view works really well, and they become genuinely kind people, because every belief system has has values and ethical conduct and things like that. It's just that then sometimes it doesn't get transformed into what it should transform into, and it's not just everybody else but the Buddhists. In every tradition you find people who don't practice in the right way. I mean, look at the Buddhist monks in Burma. in order to expel the Rohingya. Look at Tibetan masters who abuse women sexually, with power. You know, that is samsara. You know, you can't trust anybody. You can trust some people, again, Buddhism is the middle way. So I need to use language. And the moment I use language, I have a contradiction, because I say, don't trust anybody, and in your head it goes, okay, I have to distrust everybody. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? This is because you can always say, yes, but. So what makes Buddhism so difficult, and this is why very few people actually do put the energy into studying and practicing it, because it's so full of contradictions for us. Yeah? And in order to see that the contradiction, yes, is there, but the contradiction has a deeper meaning or a deeper reason, and then to go in that way you want to go, you need study, you need practice, you need to be able to look at your mind, you need to have the conditions to do that, you need a group, you need teachers, you need books, you need a lot of things, you need time. You need to give it time. And the more time you give it, then all of a sudden all this starts to make sense. Otherwise, we jump to these extremes of, don't trust anybody at all, or trust everybody. Be kind, trust everybody. This trust has become a neurotic behavior of today, I think. People are very proud that they don't trust anybody. It's a horrible mind, a suspicious mind. It's not quiet. It looks for the negative things. It's very happy when it finds the negative things, A mind that trusts is such a beautiful, it's quiet, it's peaceful and all this. So even, and I know people in Israel, they hate it when I say that. But from my side, if you're logical, you trust somebody for 10 years, and for 10 years you had a peaceful, beautiful, loving, open mind. Then the person is not trustworthy. And then you change your view and you don't trust the person anymore, but you don't need to hate them. They gave you 10 years of quiet, beautiful life. But no, they hurt me because I trusted them. You see, like, we're so manipulative without noticing it. Because when I trust somebody, I put the pressure on them. I'm pointing to your head so that I know she can take it. I'm pointing the finger at her, say, I give off this, I don't even say it. We should say it. We should make contracts saying, hey, I trust you, so you are not allowed to disappoint my trust. But we don't say it, but we expect it. And then we feel very, very, how to say, we feel very noble because we trust somebody, as if everybody can trust us, because I never disappoint anybody. We go like, unfortunately, not consciously. This is just happening somewhere, I don't know, for the psychologists, in the subconscious, or as I'm saying, tendencies, habits, views that we never take them up into the open and look at them, but, what is making me behave that way? It's that view. Is that view a good view? And then when the trust is, it wasn't justified, instead of just being reasonable, say, okay, not to be trusted, goodbye. We go like into hurt and feeling depressed and feeling sad and feeling that the anger is totally justified towards that person. We never want to see the person again, and we close the door that the relationship could continue in an okay way. You know where the person cannot be trusted, and you just continue. But so difficult to continue a good relationship with somebody who has hurt you. I have no clue why I'm going that way. I wasn't planned. I have like 18 pages of notes. I don't know how much of it to talk about. So, but just because you need trust when you do a spiritual, for whatever you do, you need trust. You need trust that it works. That's the only way you can bear the hardships. That's the only way. So when they talk about trust, they talk about 3 different trusts. and they increase in strength. So we would like to have the last one, but this one, before you do the first 2 steps, unfortunately you cannot have it. So the last one is, of course, trust that comes from experience. But in order to have experience, you need to have first a trust that, just a trust, so let's try it out. That's the first trust for us Westerners. For the Buddhists is a bit more. For the Buddhists is an aspiring trust, or faith. They call it faith. Faith has become also a word that is like, people shudder when I say that somebody is a person of faith. They go like, oh, already then, oh no, you can't trust them. Yeah. This is where we have gone, you know. As a person of faith, you can't trust. Maybe there's so many bad examples, but do you really know them? I mean, do you really know them that well? You see appearances, yeah. Like Lama Zopa the other day, we get like messages from Lama Zopa every day. So somebody was complaining about the center director was not kind, and you know that everybody else also criticizing him or her, I don't know. And Lama Zopa answered, he said, well, you know, whatever appears, it appears according to your karma in your mind. So please think like this also. It's not necessarily the absolute truth, it's just whatever you have the karma to see. And then he said, and yeah, I had this situation before in other centers. Then the person who criticized the director, I put him as a director, then everybody criticized him. And so, you know, it continues, because a mind that does not trust finds fault everywhere. Everywhere. And then the smallest thing is like totally blown up. And it becomes, we freeze it. It will always be like that. And that's the only thing this person is doing. We don't see the good things that these people are doing. So, aspiring trust is when you see somebody that inspires you. You know? And it's kind of, you're not really wanting to do something yet, but just you look at them, like the Dalai Lama, in my case, for example, or my teachers, I look at them and think, oh wow, it would be nice to be like them. Or it was like some totally unknown meditators in Dharamsala. Nobody knows them. They live in their hut up there with very, very little things. I don't know if you met anybody like this. You look into their eyes, I mean, you drown in there, and you see their love and their compassion and their, you know, it's like, it's amazing. And sometimes we couldn't even talk to them because they don't speak one word of English. And, you know, I don't speak Tibetan, but went to visit, and we could feel how they emit some energy. Now you can say, oh, this is because you must have smoked a joint or something like that. No, I was pretty sober, and I knew them over a number of years, actually. And they had no agenda. You know, there you have people that might be very close to enlightenment, and we come and disturb them. And what they do? They make us a cup of tea and welcome us. They don't say, I'm in meditation, I'm in retreat, don't enter, you know, don't make noise, go away. No. They open the door and they make a cup of tea. So like this. So this is aspiring for knowing people who live with nothing almost. You know, like their huts are leaking. It's like they eat dal and onions every day because other things don't keep up there. They have no fridge. They make their tea with a little bit of tea and a little bit of salt. No milk, no butter, no nothing up there. It's like, but they're happy. And you can see that they're happy. So yeah, I have this thing. I also want to be like this. You know, it doesn't mean that you have to give everything away. That is not the cause for happiness. So don't even try, please. You know, say, okay, I'll give everything away, and then I'll wait for happiness to come. You get angry at me because I said they have nothing and they are happy. Yeah. So, but they can be. You can put them in a palace. Same thing. They're happy, and they're using the bathtub, and they're using the comfort, and they're using all this without going over the top. Wow, this is so great. They're just using it because it's there. Then it's not there. Then it's not there. And so they're very balanced and very open in whatever way. So this is the first job. Then I wanted to know, how do they get there? Then you need to start to see, or you need to start to look at what is their practice, what are they doing, and then you start to look into Buddhism. And so then when the interest in becoming like them is very strong, then you see that, oh, I have to do something, I have to start practicing. So you start to practice, and you start to practice the first thing, which is, yes, even though there is